If you're thinking about moving to Northwest Arkansas in the next 6 months, I'm going to share with you some of the tips and tricks you need to know if you want to get the lowest price home possible here in Northwest Arkansas. So, let's talk about that. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. If you weren't aware, I was a real estate broker located in the dumpster fire state of Illinois. Decided to move out of there and I wanted to find the best place to live in America. I looked at probably very similar locations that you're looking to right now, and I chose literally the best place to live in America, which is Northwest Arkansas by far. So if you're ever thinking about coming down here, moving down here, or just visiting down here, definitely call me. Let's meet up for coffee. Let's talk about why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America. And there are so many different reasons. So many different reasons. And if you haven't been down to Northwest Arkansas quite yet, I made something called the NWA Starter Pack. Sounds exactly what it is. Literally a starter pack full of all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on in downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Fayetteville? What's going on in Springdale? What are all the hospitals like? What are the schools like? All the things you want to know about Northwest Arkansas. Package shipped right to your home. Right to your home. Enter your name below. Enter your address below. Where am I shipping this package to? Let me know with all the information below. I'll make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. Also, side note, it does come with your first free mountain bike, so that's pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking. It is my favorite four-letter F word. Free! So enter your information below. I'll make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. All right, so the first thing we need to talk about when it comes to actually reducing the price of the home when it comes to offering and all the tips and tricks, the first one's gonna be a little bit more obvious, and that is going to be cash. Now you're thinking like, okay, like not everyone has X amount of dollars laying around for cash for a home. Now, let me kind of share with you some things on the side wings here. Usually, if you offer cash, you can negotiate very hard because you can do a quicker close, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But if you have cash, there's no appraisal. There's so many benefits to having cash. We're aware of this. That makes it that people are willing to reduce the price of their home because of that reason. So one thing to keep in mind is whether you have the cash available, and that's not everyone, of course, we know that. But sometimes, in some occasions, and you can talk to your financial person about this, is actually taking a loan against your 401k or other situations to actually pull cash from there. And this way you could save sometimes between 5 or 7% of the actual purchase price by doing cash versus a loan. And so it's one of those things too that sometimes honestly I've had some clients actually borrow money from family members because the side deal is essentially like, well, I'll let you figure that out. Anyways, we're starting to cross weird financial lines. But anyways, if you can actually find cash, whether it's a 401k or if you have liquid cash available, or you can figure that out, oftentimes it's a better idea to go with cash and get a 5 or 7% or sometimes lower reduction of price because of that versus other things like, for instance, a loan. So keep that in mind, and sometimes you have to get a little creative with how you find that, or if you have that available, of course, great. Or another way to look at it is that if you want to cash out of your home in another part of the United States and move here, and you're gonna be liquid available from that, that's something to keep in mind as well. So that are some of the ways that you can play the chips when it comes to cash, but oftentimes you can negotiate pretty hard when you have cash because it relieves a lot of stress on the seller side because they see everything available. There's no other issues involved. It's just cash in hand and a couple other weird things in between there, like such as inspection and appraisal. You can remove the appraisal. So there's not many hurdles when it comes to cash. And the second tip or trick you need to be aware of when it comes to getting a reduced priced home here in Northwest Arkansas, and this is actually one of my favorite ones, is no repairs, but subject to inspection. Now, the reason I love about this is that a lot of times sellers don't want to do repairs on the home at all. And I don't actually recommend that for my clients, specifically my buyers, because like, do you really want the sellers to do their own repairs? No. Oftentimes in contracts, we end up negotiating numbers like thousands of dollars for repairs. But if you know what you're walking into, you know the house, whether it's in great condition or meh condition, the thing about it is that it is huge stress off of the actual sellers themselves. If you walk in and say, you know what, love the house, no repairs, automatically it's a couple $1,000s off the purchase price because especially if it's an house, you know there's gonna be some issues and that you want to take care of. But if you kind of set that up ahead of time saying no repairs, but subject to inspection, that will save you a couple $1,000s minimum just on the actual negotiation price of the actual contract itself. This is something that you lead with in oftentimes when a contract to make sure if you start really low on an offer price, you kind of give these little sweet things along the way saying, yeah, it's a low price, but It's going to be no repairs, subject to inspection though. So that's a little thing that I like to do all the time, just to make sure that we can oftentimes negotiate 5 or 7% below asking price to get a nice little deal in a Northwest Arkansas home. And the third tip or trick you need to be aware of when it comes to getting a reduced priced home here in Northwest Arkansas, and this is slightly attached to number 1, which is cash, because you'll see why in a second. But number 3 is actually quick close. Now the reason I say it's attached to cash is because with cash, for the most part, you can close whenever you want as long as title is clear. Yay. But honestly, the other part is that quick close can happen with some lenders, but usually the fastest I've seen is like 20 days, sometimes 25 days around here, but that kind of is pushing it. If you're doing like a VA loan or an FHA loan, you have to, 30 days is like the minimum. But long story short, if you do have an ability to work with a lender, that is a quicker movement, that is a good thing. But at the same time, if you can that's why I say it's attached to cash. If you have cash and you can pull cash, whatever the case is, go reference number 1. But if you can do that, you can offer a quicker close, and this makes it very incentivized to the actual seller themselves. And before we jump on to the next point, I have something brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking to move to the area and using things like Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or Redfin. Notifications, way too slow. Way too slow. That's why I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is, literally Instant Home Updates. So enter your information below: name, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms. Where do you want to move to Northwest Arkansas? Let me know with all that information below. I'll make sure you don't miss a single notification when it comes for homes for sale or for rent, all in Northwest Arkansas. Also, every single Friday, I send an email out just kind of talking about all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on in downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Springdale? What are new things coming to the Walmart Amphitheater? What's going on at the Walton Arts Center? What's going on over at the new soccer stadium? What's going on over at Pinnacle? What new businesses? So much going on all the time. Enter your name below, enter your email below. I'll make sure that I get that email out to you every single Friday. But sadly, side note, you will get a little fear of missing out, little FOMO, so to speak. But I promise you will be the most informed person eventually when you make your way down to Northwest Arkansas. And the fourth tip or trick you can actually leverage getting a reduced priced home here in Northwest Arkansas, and this is actually attached to a couple other ones prior to this, but it's actually called delayed occupancy. Now every state has a little bit of different name for this, but essentially to boil it down is that the sellers can actually stay in the home after the sale so they can kind of get their stuff together and out the door. Now the reason this is very popular, and this kind of goes hand in hand with also the no repairs / cash deal, is that you can, or excuse me, quick close and also cash, is that if you have cash, you can do a quicker close and you can do a delayed occupancy. Now I stack this a lot of times in my offers when it comes to with my clients, so if you have worked with me, you are fully aware of this. But the nice thing is that even if you don't have cash, and if you just have regular style loan, you can still do a delayed occupancy, because sometimes people have a lot of stuff in their homes, or they have kids, or they're shuffling things around, or they're waiting for a new build, or whatever the case is. Sometimes offering a delayed occupancy, even if they don't necessarily need it, gives you a couple $1,000s off the asking price, just because of the fact that they're going to be in their home. They'll be able to take their time. The stress of moving makes it better for the sellers, which means it could be a couple percent reduction on the actual home sale based on that. So keep that in mind if you are making offers around Northwest Arkansas. Use delayed occupancy, and if you start stacking these things, you can start adding these up really quickly and getting quite a few percent off the actual asking price. And the fifth tip or trick when it comes to getting a reduced priced home here in Northwest Arkansas, and this is one of my favorite, but not necessarily to get a reduced price one, but to actually outcompete other offers. Now, we're not in a world of multi-offer situations at the moment. There are some times and occasions where I have to go up against them because the home was probably underpriced and put on the market intentionally for multi-offer situations, or it's like a lakefront in Bella Vista, or it's like a downtown Bentonville property house occasionally. Anyways, one of the tricks I like to use oftentimes, and you're welcome to use this, is a larger non-refundable deposit. Now, what that means is that after you go through the inspection period, usually you give a check called a non-refundable literally to the sellers. In most states like Illinois, where I came from, we use something called escrow money. And here in Northwest Arkansas, we use non-refundables. They don't really use escrow money here. Oftentimes, it's only been like once for me. But like in California and Utah and Texas and of course Illinois, they use escrow money. So same thing. The difference is that the title company in escrow world, the title company holds the escrow money. In Arkansas world, in non-refundable world, literally you write a check to the seller themselves. So what I say all that to say is that if you are going to a multi-offer situation, or asterisk, you want to get a reduced price of the home, offering a larger non-refundable is going to do well. Now you're probably thinking, what's a large non-refundable? Usually my rule of thumb is that if it's under $500,000, usually $2,000 to $3,000 is great for a normal non-refundable. over $500,000 is going to be closer to $5,000. Now, if you are competing against a multi-offer situation, I would definitely think about giving over a if it depends how much you care about the house, over a $10,000 non-refundable. Now it mean like if it's a very large home, an expensive home, definitely $10,000 or more for sure. Now you're probably thinking, oh my God, what if I lose that money? The thing about it is that oftentimes it's 100% actually after inspection. So you're kind of pretty confident the home is in good working order, the whole thing. And this is something you give after inspection. So it definitely minimizes or mitigates any sort of risk because you're kind of doing your due diligence beforehand and then you give money afterwards. So just keep that in mind, is that a large non-refundable can do wonders. And the sixth tip or trick when it comes to getting a reduced priced home here in Northwest Arkansas, and this is something I don't like using, but it is an option, is actually a deposit at contract signing. Now the reason I don't like this is because first off, unless you're in a multi-offer situation, there's really no need for it. If you are in a multi-offer situation, which is a little bit rare nowadays, then you can think about it. The reason that I'm not a big fan of it is that it opens up you to a lot of risk because you're putting money in and you're not going to get it back, a non-refundable, when you get it back, like at contract signing. And if the inspection goes a little haywire, then you ain't getting the money back. So I use this with much resistance because for obvious reasons. Now, if you know what you're getting yourself into, like a home, I would consider this if you're getting into a well done home. You know there's gonna be no issues. Sure, but I would never recommend this unless it's a multi-offer situation and the people and my clients love the home, etc. And like the whole thing. That's the only time that I ever really recommend it. There's no need for it unless there's a multi-offer situation. Or you really want to reduce the price of the home, you're willing to start running the risk that you're going to start giving money before inspection. Not recommended, but you could definitely turn some heads when you start throwing a couple $1,000s on a non-refundable at contract signing. So use that as you will. I would not recommend that unless the most dire situation. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you are thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itineraries link below. Maybe you're a venturer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're sightseer, maybe you have kids. Whatever it is, there's a 3-day itinerary link down below for you. So go ahead and download it and use it when you get down here. Also, when you do come down here, I can give you a $10 tour so I can kind of show you around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some homes for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar will go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, see you next one.